Hello and welcome to Tip Spearhead. I'm Ace Face. I'm here as always, my buddy Simon. How you doing, Simon?
I'm all right, my friend. I am okay. Getting on.
Good. Getting on. Okay. That's the best you can do right at the moment.
I think it's the only thing you can do now, isn't it? Well, the only legal thing you can do now, anyway. Is that right? Should we caveat probably. that with that? Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe not a bad idea. It's still pretty, as far as from a hobby point of view, particularly from a gaming point of view, it's pretty quiet times out there, because there's not a lot happening, really, is there?
No, and I haven't quite gotten to the point where I play a game with myself, though I know some people who have. But I'm not quite broken that line of I don't even know what it would be. Isolation.
How does that work? How does that actually work?
Well, I couldn't help myself. I cheat. I just cheat and beat myself. That's what I do. Who's going to stop me? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
I don't know. I just don't know anybody that can play not thinking what's going to happen in the future. That's I suppose is because if you know, in your mindset, it makes sense to be able to do it because, you know, you sit in one seat and you go, right, this is my army. I'm going to do the best I can. And then the next turn, you're the other army and you do the best you can. But the thing is, you kind of don't plan just one turn in advance. You plan like the future of the game. And if you plan that, you're unable to switch that off for your opponent, which is also you.
Can you imagine, right? Like, let's say it's the hated Tau versus my much loved Space Marines, and I imagine I'd want the Tau to lose. So what I would do is I'd do really noobish things with the Tau and then crush them with the mighty Space Marines. Or when you're playing a game and during you play a game and you fuck up, right, and you do something, you think, oh no, and you try to do the poker face thing, like I know that I've just moved them too close. Right? How can you possibly do that when you do it yourself? Like you get to your turn. Well, I'm just going to go. Do you mind if I move them back because I didn't really mean to do that? And I'm going to go. Nah, I'm not going to let you.
Yeah,
I'm playing this straight. I'm playing this straight. You fucked up. You fucked up, Simon. You're going to have to leave them where they are. And now I'm going to crush you. It's just not. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, I personally can't see how anyone can make it work. But there you go. That's
fair play if you can. And do you know what? Look, if it's keeping you sane, then fair play to you and carry on. But
do what you have to do in these trying times, right?
Yeah, that is exactly right.
But thanks very much for joining us, guys. If you're just stumbling upon us, we generally put a podcast out every week. It's been a little bit few and far between at the moment, mainly because of me just being lazy and falling into bad habits, but also there really isn't that much for us to cover at the moment, so it's difficult for us to necessarily bring you the kind of cutting edge content that you're going to enjoy. So bit of excuses there, but that's generally, we tend to try and do this weekly. We're part of the Twisted Dice network, so you can catch loads of other things going on in Twisted Dice. There's loads of videos coming out over there. We've got painting tutorials, we've got narrative videos that even Salty Simon's getting involved in. We've got all sorts going on over there, so check out our YouTube. Very active on Facebook. We've got our Facebook dedicated to Tip of the Spearhead as well, so if you want to kind of reach us over there and let us know what you think about the podcast, then please do jump over on our Facebook page and let us know what's going on there. That'd really be much appreciated.
John, can I just stop you there, mate?
You can.
If I had $1 a month, is there something I could do with
it? I was just about to get onto that, but that is a fantastic segue, Simon.
If you did have $1 in my pocket, mate.
If you did have $1 a month, the best thing to do is get some more and give that to us as well. So for $1 a month, you can join our Patreon service, and it starts at $1. You can become part of our Discord server and chat to loads of other like-minded hobbyists and gamers. It's a really, really cool place to kind of hang out and chat and share kind of work in progress and things like that. And those guys really, really support us to kind of do what we're doing. They pay the bills. This podcast business is not free, and all the equipment and kit that we have to do to bring you the battle reports and the and all the different videos is also a costly thing that we don't make a lot from. So every penny goes back into the channel. So we really, really do appreciate those guys for putting their hands in their pockets and supporting us. So but yeah, so loads of ways to catch us. Basically, just search Twisted Dice and you'll probably find us on all manner of formats. But on this show, we try and cover whatever's kind of hot off the press, or if there isn't anything, we'll try and find something else to take the piss out of 45 minutes to an hour or an hour and a half, depending on how long we can stall for time. But today there is something new, kind of new, that is just released. And what is that, Simon?
We're going to get some bile. I think everyone is, but it's the new update to Deathwatch, and I'm not a Deathwatch player, although I do love the fluff and I always have done. I had a Deathwatch themed army, but it was obviously back in the day it was Ultramarines. Why would I play anything different? But it was all painted like the old Deathwatch back when you could get away with stuff like that. It was actually before Deathwatch had actual rules, and then when they actually got rules, it kind of made it a bit harder for me to do that. But anyway, so there's the new White Dwarf. I think is it 352 or 450? They don't put months and years on anymore. So finding it on friggin' iBook store has been an absolute nightmare. But anyway, whatever it is, yes, we have the new Deathwatch rules, and it's pretty exciting. He says sarcastically.
He says sarcastically. Well, yeah, I mean, I think one of the big interesting things about this was there wasn't much leaks for a long time up to this. So in the end, as always, sort of the week before, all the leaks came out, but everyone was quite quiet on this for a long time in the lead up to it. So there was a lot of people speculating what this would do. And the Deathwatch before the Marines came out were probably the best Marines. I think that's probably fair. So before we got Marines, New Codex, Deathwatch were the best. They were sitting on, and actually there were people that were starting to take them again. So yeah, in fact, I think so. Not this Vegas just gone, but the Vegas before, quite a lot of good players took out Deathwatch and were doing the kind of I can't. What's their standard squad called? I can't remember what they're called now, but like their normal kind of squad.
Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, the mixed squad of a bit of everything.
Squad, but everybody was taking
the Terminator. Yeah, because it was back in. It was almost like the old fucking when you had the bloody they were like mini death friggin'. Do you remember back in the 7th when you had
strike squads, but they're not strike squads, are they?
They are not. Just keep padding for time, mate. I'm getting there.
Kill teams. Kill teams?
Well, kill teams would make sense since they are kill teams. I'm flicking through really fast trying to find it and getting there. I'm getting there.
I think they might be kill teams.
Veteran squads, I think.
Veteran squads, that's what they were called. Yeah, so veteran squads.
Yeah.
So they were quite hot probably. Good on. Yeah,
they are kill teams. So it's a veteran squad, i.e., the kill team, basically. But they're called veteran squads for the purposes of this. Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of people were taking them, and they were doing okay, because what they were very good at that point is they were very good at putting out a hail of bullets, and they were quite a good counter meta army against orcs, who were quite hot in the meta at that point. And then as well, when they released bolter discipline, start off with like the bolter drill, that made them even better, right? Because then they were using all their special ammunition and they were hosing people with 100 shots from wherever, right?
Yeah. And everyone could have a storm bolter, not just Terminators. So it was just, so you had them with the friggin' Terminator. So you had the normal guys with storm bolters and storm shields, which was just, you're right. So it was death. But
that changed, right?
They had enough of that nonsense. No longer could you super fire special ammo, which kind of makes sense. It's supposed to be special ammo, not fucking plentiful and free for all, isn't it? They don't take 900 friggin'. It's not like the A team and they've got like a van full of various different ammos and stuff. Like, I'm just going to fire 900 shots at this special, incendiary ammo. Oh, right. So now I need to run back to my truck to reload up on armor piercing ammo. No, it's supposed to be more like you kind of, I always kind of put it like Judge Dredd. If you've ever sort of read that, he's got his gun goes between the different modules, but he's only got minimum ammunition of each one, so he uses it as and when he has to, rather than all the time. So no, I get that, and that was stopped via the medium of FAQ, wasn't it? They'd had enough of that nonsense, and they said no. But it was always an ally army, right? So I'm sure you could do it from a fluff, cool looking perspective, but everyone always just took it like as a bolt on, because you never lost any of your benefits. So you could bolt it onto, I'd seen it bolted onto Space Wolves. I'd seen it bolted onto, I'm pretty sure you could bolt onto anything Imperium back then. And I still think you can now, I think. I don't think that's changed, but we'll dig into that. But I'm pretty sure you could bolt it onto, you could have your heroic 32, you could have a knight. It was one of those kind of real Swiss Army knife type armies, wasn't it? Where if you had a gap in what your army did, so knights were big and shooting and everything else, but if you needed something a bit more, I want to be able to sort of teleport down and take out a load of grots or something like that, or the screens, then you could take these guys, and that's kind of what they were, and it kind of fit the fluff, didn't it, really? Because that's kind of what you imagine a kill team to do.
Absolutely, 100%.
So it was one of those sort of weird things where I'd been on the receiving end before the FAQ of hosing down of friggin' special ammunition, and you think, Jesus Christ, you've got a bike in there, you've got a Terminator in there, and that was just for each little special rule, which was frustrating, because pretty sure that from memory, and this might be exactly the same now, but the Terminator made them fearless. So it was just, so every little bit. And the bike meant they got bigger charges, I think, because the bike could be that little bit further out in front, and then all the rest of the squad could catch it up. So there was all little tricks and triggers, which the good players like. I get all that. But, when you're getting hosed down by something 30 inches away, it wasn't a lot of fun. And then, they got, am I right? They did get all of the Primaris, but you couldn't. Could you mix and match Primaris in with normal guys, or could you mix and match all the Primaris-y stuff together? That I'm a bit hazy
that
on.
was the only, no. You did have to have kind of one or the other. So you could have any of the Primaris stuff together, but you couldn't have a mixture of Primaris stuff and Little Marines. So you had to have, if you had the Little Marines, you could have like the bike, you could have the
Terminator, the dude.
Terminator, the jump pack dude, whatever. If you had the intercessors, if you like, as your base, you could have aggressors, you could
bolt everything into that then, an Inceptor, Reaver, Aggressor, Hellblaster, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And they basically, in a nutshell, did the same thing so each individual one had something that kind of kept them doing the same thing, more or less. So it worked all right,
Yep.
But anyway, so fast forward, right?
Fast forward, indeed. So it's safe to say the Death Watch they'd gotten left behind, because obviously Space Marines came along and just jumped all over everything. And then Space Marines got another update, which was nice, which let them jump up and down on everything even harder. Then they got nerfed. Then they got another update, which was really nice, where suddenly we got the Masters of the Chapter, and where everyone suddenly got ace again. And then poor old everyone else sitting there watching, going, well, where's all our stuff? And the Death Watch, obviously they're out in the far reaches of the galaxy. They don't get new shit. Calm your jets. Why do you get new stuff? So slowly everyone's kind of caught up a little bit. Poor Dark Angels had 1 week in the sun before their rules got nerfed. Death Watch didn't even get that. So that they haven't even had the rules to get nerfed. So I think one of the saddest things of all of this is I was watching sort of like, there's quite literally shit all else to do, is there? So I'm like a lot of people. I work from home, and rather from being able to leave the office and come home and start my hobby. I am in my hobby space doing work and trying hard not to be distracted, but then after work, not really being that bothered. So it's kind of because I've been sat with it all bloody day and not been able to do anything with it. So it's kind of made my hobby time hard. So what I have found myself doing is reading quite a bit more, which has been quite pleasant. I've picked up books again and stuff, but reading quite a lot of the community stuff. And then I'm quite kind of like into reading the comments. And I feel for some people, because I think some people with the comments were expecting a lot more than what they've got. I think following the path of what the various other chapters and build outs have gotten, I don't think what's come out in White Dwarf is going to particularly be taken very well. I haven't seen comments on that yet, but I imagine people were expecting new psychic powers, a whole host of new cool stuff, and that's not what's happened.
It is not. I think that's pretty fair. I think it's yeah. So in a nutshell, because we're expecting most people have probably seen them, but in a nutshell,
if you're a Death Watch player, you'll know. Yeah, you'll know.
But if you're not, and as I said, you've kind of lost track a little bit. What extra things have Death Watch got exactly?
So what's effectively happened is they've looked at, so Codex and Death Watch, I suppose, didn't have a lot of the newer things cemented in. So as we've had all of the other updates, so let's think we had Blood Angels got an update in the Thingy of Baal, didn't they?
Yeah.
Then we've had Space Wolves with the Beast. We've had Dark Angels and whatever their one was. Yeah. So everyone gets the same basic start, right? Which is you get Angels of Death, they shall know no fear, and Bolt of Discipline and Shock Assault. So they just entrench them back in again. So even though some of them had them before, they just make it clear. Now, we had this little debate beforehand. They haven't given Death Watch a specifically new set of rules for Bolt of Discipline. It is just literally a copy and paste from the from the Space Marine book. And I did initially think, well, does that mean that they can now use their special ammunition again? But I think no, the FAQ still covers it because it's still Bolt of Discipline. The core rule hasn't changed. They've just now brought it in and entrenched it. So they've given them all the same, and it's not a bad thing. But they already had some of these things anyway because they were working off the beta, I think. So I think they still covered them. So they had Bolt of Discipline, they had Shock Assault, they had all these various things. So
they have the Vanguard guys now, I guess.
No, is the simple answer to give you there. If you had to have the new data sheets to have those models, then the answer is no, you don't. And this is where I'm not. So what it basically says is it's supposed to bring them in line with Codex Space Marines. So it doesn't necessarily, and I'm just now reading through, it doesn't give you all the new data sheets like it did the Space Wolves, right? So does that mean that they don't get it?
Well, they weren't in the Codex, so
then I guess they don't get them.
I guess they don't get them. If you know differently, let us know. I'm sure you will do, but let us know. But I can't see where it says that they would. But
I am reading it rapidly as we talk, and no, they all the Phobos type gear, including the little, including my little cool stealthy little walker that you hate and I love. No, none of that stuff. So the core of their build is identically the same. They do, however, get the new when the Executioner came out. There's something about that. So they get the Executioner, and I don't know why, because that must have been on something else. So because it does say something about Executioner. So here we go. So all Death Watch units in Codex Death Watch and the Repulsor Executioner datasheet found in Space Marine Update gain the Angels of Death. So they haven't given them. So you get none of the new models. So all of the, so they already had Reavers, right? Because Reavers were already a thing. But the Phobos. So what don't they get?
Don't get the
Infiltrators. No, did they get Infiltrators? I don't think they did.
No, they don't get Infiltrators. Don't get the Snipers. don't get the
jump
suppressors. Yeah.
So they get Inceptors, Reavers, Aggressors, Hellblasters. So that means what's left out. So they've got so you've got you've got the Infiltrators and their opposites. I can't never remember what they're called.
Oh yeah,
they're not not Incursors.
Incursors, that's it.
Yeah, so they're not going to get them. So bizarrely, all of the really cool, sneaky, tricky shit, which you can't imagine the Death Guard. Oh, it's Death Guard. No, that's the next one. Death Watch. Would like and use. No, none of that. Just I can see sometimes that people get a little bit knocked, and you try to maintain some level of perspective because look, it's only a game and there's nastier shit going on out there. But if this is your main kind of world, and you were really wanting to bring this, it is a bit of a kick, to be fair, because that's no Phobos at all, just Phobos bar Reavers. No, because I don't even think you get a Phobos. Do you get I don't even think you get a Phobos anything. So you don't get the Phobos captain, you don't get the Phobos lieutenant, you don't get the Phobos. Do you get the no? Because there's no psychic powers in here, so you don't even get the Phobos or the Phobos chaplain. Is that a thing?
There is.
Pretty sure it might be.
Captain. No, there's not.
There isn't. Okay. No. So there's no. So okay, well that's fair then. So they don't get that either, but then neither does everyone else. So that's not also bad. So you just get the core stuff, which okay. Why is there a reason for that? It doesn't. This is because this is.
Don't know. Maybe it's again just the danger of these things could get quite tasty with the ammunition.
Yeah, but you can teleport anything in turn 2, right? So, and that was always the strength of these guys. And the mixture of stuff, like if you had something with a jump keyword, you could leave combat, charge again, and everyone else kind of followed. I don't know. It all got really funky, didn't it?
Yes.
With the way it would build. Maybe being able to build and put an Incursor in, or this, or an Infiltrator. Yeah, I guess so, because that would make every squad. You couldn't get within 12 inches of every squad.
Yeah,
because you just have one Infiltrator in there.
Yeah, that'd be a bit much, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess so, because then every squad would suddenly become a squad of Infiltrators, wouldn't they? Really?
Yeah,
just put one of them in.
I mean, there would have been easy enough ways of them kind of stopping that, just to stop those particular units from being part of their kind of conjoining veteran units. But obviously, that must have been too much hard work for Games Workshop to rewrite those bits, and it was much easier just to say, you don't get them.
But then you don't get any of the new stuff. So you don't get the new. You don't get. I mean, but then you don't even get impulsors. I mean, where's the downside of an impulsor? It's just something for the Primaris to sit in, isn't it? I mean, was that? I get it. Look, and it's one of those. Maybe it created way more. Like you said, maybe bringing those extra bits in created far more potential for abuse, I suppose, or rules clashes. Because obviously you're building. I'm trying to think what the word is, right? And it was a Death Star, wasn't it? Because back in 7th we had Death Stars where you had a White Scars bike captain with a something captain, and you just basically used every little rule, didn't you? That was the whole point of it, and that's what these guys kind of were, wasn't it? Because you had the Terminator, which gave you Fearless, you had this guy, which gave you that, you had the guy with Fly, who allowed you to leave and charge, and all those sorts of things. Is like, and there was all these little bits and pieces, which I guess created things of, is that what we intended? Obviously you're doing what you're doing the same as what we got when we got our wrist slaps for playing the Iron Hands wrong. I guess the same could work here, couldn't it? So, but it does. Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of people commenting, going like, "I can't wait for my Primaris librarian to get his own set of powers." No. Can't wait for my. I did. Yeah, here's the real kick. The chaplain doesn't even get his own litany. It's like. No. Really, you could have just given him his own Death Watch. Could have
given him a bone, right? They couldn't even give him a bone. Yeah,
because there's no. Yeah, all they've done, and I'm look. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be Captain fucking Buzzkill or anything like that. But all they've really done is just gone, copy paste, search for Space Marine, replace it with Death Watch, and then hit enter, and that's pretty much it, really. Because so let's run through. So let's be fair. Let's go through it. So then, obviously, they do get Devastator, Tactical, and Assault Doctrine. That is pretty big, right? And that does work with all the special ammo as long as it's got the right keywords, right? So, in Tactical Doctrine, an extra minus AP is good for these guys because they do want to use their bolters, right? With the way that they build out, they're a very bolter heavy army, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And they can have rounds that wound you on 2s.
Yeah, and suddenly with an extra AP on that is really cool. So it's not stuff that isn't helpful. I just don't think it's enough, if that makes sense. But still, given the way that they build out, given the way that you can give everything a storm bolter, which you can't do with normal Marines, let's be honest. You can't come down and pour that level of fire down on somebody, and you start every single one of your squads up in space if you want to. I'm pretty sure, again, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I don't think teleporting them was a strat. It might have been.
It was. Yes, it was.
It was a strat, was it? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So you chuck them in the teleporter. Terminators could do it anyway, right? But in mixed squad, you'd have to spend the CP to do it, would you? And I assume that would have been a.
Yes, you could. You could do it on anyone, so you could do it on your Dreadnoughts and all sorts originally.
Yeah, so I'm flicking through the old codex as fast as I can, trying to find these things.
It wasn't a Space Marine one. You couldn't do it on Space Marines, yeah.
No. It was a special. It was the what's the word I'm looking for? It was the Death Watch. It was a Death Watch specific one, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously they obviously got all the stuff they already had. None of that's gone. So they had a lot of cool sort of stuff. There you go, Teleportarium. That's the one. It's an infantry unit or a Death Watch unit, so you couldn't obviously do it with a bike. But obviously anything with a jetpack could. Yeah, now they changed it to infantry or dreadnought. So the bike can drop out. The bike can drop out of the plane, can't it? So
yeah.
But you would just start that on the floor a lot of the time because the range that they had was always very, very good, and you just foot slog it. So that was right. So that was pretty cool. So a lot of the time they wouldn't be coming in until turn 2 anyway. So now they're coming in turn 2. You just go, I'm going to be in Tactical Doctrine. That's that job done. Because I might be wrong, but they're not really an army that really takes advantage of the Devastator Doctrine, are they? There's not a lot of. Who takes heavy weapons on these guys? It's just not really doesn't really suit their thing, does it? They're a very
not really.
Yeah, they're a very special ammunition.
Stalker bolters wouldn't really benefit them any more than normal. So no, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. So that is still pretty cool. And then there's the Assault Doctrine, which these guys can be assaulty, but I don't think they necessarily stack up that way. Some of their characters can hit quite hard though from memory. Yep. Their watch captain was pretty tough, wasn't he? Yep. He had all sorts of funky little rules. So you had all of the basic stuff, and now what they've done is they've brought you up to speed. They've given you the doctrines, and this is where things get a little bit interesting, right? So they have straight copied and pasted it from the original Space Marine Codex. So right now, these guys don't have to change, and I'm literally looking. So at the start of the battle, the Devastated Doctrine is active. A combat doctrine remains active for the duration of the battle. You can change. So it's a straight copy and paste. So right now, and this is where I'm sorry, I'll probably get into trouble, but this does feel a bit lazy because they've clearly changed this in all the other ones. We've had time to change it here. Why haven't they changed it? All right. So we got our wrists slapped for keeping iron hands in the Doctrine all bloody game. Now suddenly it's like, here's a new set of rules, and look, you can now do it. So if there was a tournament next week, you'd have people turn up with Death Watch, playing Death Watch in a way that you can't play any other Space Marine chapter. And that's kind of annoying because it's like...
Well, it means that they would go into Assault Doctrine turn 2 and they would stay in Assault Doctrine, Assault Doctrine, Tactical Doctrine for the rest of the game. So they would get... obviously you do get an extra turn, don't you? So you get generally you normally
turn
get
2, 3
up until turn 3, but these guys are going to get like 4, 5, and 6.
But here's where life gets fun. They've given them the adaptive stratagem, which nobody else is allowed to use, but right now Death Watch can. So Deathwatch can change up if they wish to. So if they had a unit on the board, a big unit of that, because they did tend to go for blobs, right? So it'd be a blob of the bit of everything with loads of shots. If they wanted to, you can. So I think is it backwards or forwards?
Backwards.
Alternatively, yeah. So yeah, that's right. So backwards. So what would effectively happen is yeah, that's right. They stopped adaptive strategy when they made you have to go up one at a time, because it then meant that you could just stay in Devastator for another round, which defeated the point, right? So these guys, again, they can't go forward. So my apologies, I misunderstood that for a second. It's what it is that this rule that effectively turned that off when they changed the other one. So right now it is just a straight copy and paste, and that's kind of like you obviously know that we can't do that, because when did that come out? March? Jeez, it was before all of this shit all happened, wasn't it? So
it was, yeah.
We all got our wrist slapped. When did we all get our wrist slapped? Because we weren't playing the game right.
February.
That's it. So they've had from February to now to change this, and it's like
it's only in a White Dwarf as well. I don't know how quickly the White Dwarfs are printed, but surely that seems like they could have done that, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit. So right now, this might be really brilliant. Your Deathwatch guys still on. You have no fear of allying at all. You don't even need to keep all Space Marines. So it's not like there doesn't seem to be anything that I can see that says I can't ally with anybody I want to and get these rules. It doesn't say that I have to be all the same. It just says that, in fact, there's nothing at all about that. It's just so I can pick a core blob, and to be fair, that's quite good, because that kind of works with how these guys would work, I think. So you could right now, if there was, like I said, a tournament next week, you could break out, blow the dust off your Deathwatch and play them in a way that Space Marines can't. And it's not by, I don't think it's by some clever design. It's just literally a copy and paste. That's just what they've done. But there we go. So let's run through what extra. So basically, I think what they've done is they've given you all of the. So here it even goes. So here we go to stratagems. If your army's battle forged and includes any Deathwatch detachments, you can use the stratagems. So it's absolutely fine. So you can just have one. So you can go Deathwatch Knights, and Space War. Space Wars would lose their thing now because they've gained that, so that's probably not as attractive as it was. Although it's only exploding sixes on turn 3, so are you really that bothered about it? Probably not. But you could do the heroic 32 Knights and Deathwatch, no drama at all. It loses nothing. So it's all a bit weird. But you gain. So the things you gain is you get the Duty Eternal, so obviously the half wounds on the Dreadnoughts. Don't really recall anyone bringing Dreadnoughts, but maybe they might now. Maybe they might. I don't know.
Because again, that's not, so that got FAQ'd. So I don't know whether does that count as theirs being FAQ'd, or it doesn't. Again, it doesn't, because it doesn't do half wounds anymore, does it?
So it just says your army is chosen until the end of the phase, resolving damage, half the damage rounding up. So yeah, until you get an FAQ, it's the rule as written, right?
It seems ridiculous that they would FAQ so much of the Space Marine, unless we're missing something, but I don't think we are.
It is literally copy and pasted identically. I'm now looking at the Space Marine Codex. It's just the same as from the Space Marine Codex. And I am Captain Fanboy most of the time. I know I do moan a lot, right? Don't get me wrong. I do get a bit salty from time to time.
A lot.
From time to time. But I do give I do tend to give the Lords and Masters of Games Workshop more, an amount of freedom. But this is literally copy and pasted identically. Like I'm looking at the both. I mean, same little bit of fluff underneath, same everything. So they've just copied and pasted it from the book, which has so much FAQ that they are actually wrong. So you think, and it's not from some clever design. I don't think it's just because that's just what they've done. So anyway, they gain that. They gain Bolt Storm. So there is some cool stuff that does help them, right? So Bolt Storm for Deathwatch Intercessors is pretty cool. And again, so but it's only auto bolt rifle, so it's not like I don't think they can use the special ammunition, right? This is where I'm a little bit ropey.
Yes, they can.
As to what can they?
Yes.
Can they?
Yes. Absolutely, 100%.
So you can't use bolt of discipline, but you can use these guys who shoot 3 shots, right? So yep. I mean that just seems. But does that not then is replaced by they don't get 3 shots of Dragonfire bolts, right? They only get 1. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think. Well, that depends on the actual rounds. So it depends on what their rounds will specifically change the. If the round doesn't change the amount of shots, then it doesn't matter. If the round says you only shoot once, but it does X, Y, and Z, then yes. So yeah, I know because Sean used to play them. So I've been on the other end of lots of shooting from Deathwatch Intercessors, doing a lot of damage. That's why they're so good. Would they not be using
they'd be using their rapid fire one rather than which has the extra range rather than the machine gun one, right? Is that not?
Yes.
Is that not right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
I think he normally used the one with the. I think the one that people tend to use is the one that already has the -1 in it. Because one of them has a -1. I don't know which one it is, but one of them has AP -1. So then they use the rounds that give them additional AP, which makes them better. And then in theory, with now the Doctrine, they get an additional -1 AP as well.
So I'm reading this and I think they're rapid fire, these shots. I'm sure they. But then, yeah, because the Stormbolter can use it because they're rapid fire. I'm convinced it's rapid fire rather than assault. I might be wrong. Again, I'm reading as I go. But anyway, so that lets you auto hit. So that might actually be good. It might not be. But the rapid fire one definitely is good because I definitely know rapid fire. So rapid fire, select one of your Deathwatch Intercessors until the end of the phase. Bolt rifles in that unit are equipped with rapid fire too. So suddenly that sounds like it might be really interesting.
Yeah, that's good.
Because much depends on how all this kind of works out, and I thought I had a handle on it, but suddenly we're throwing in extra bits and pieces which change how these things work. And I've been on the ass end of it the same as you. I know that Bolt of Discipline didn't work, so that meant they couldn't stand still and double fire.
That's correct.
But once they get,
they can. Yeah, no, but they
but only with normal ammo.
They can use. That's right.
Yeah, but when they got within the certain range, then they could rapid fire the new ammo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, because it's standard, so they don't get. So it goes back to what the normal weapons do. So like a normal rapid fire weapon in half distance does X, Y, and Z. So yes, it doesn't stop.
Hang about though. Hang about. I might have misread that. So Kraken bolts, for example, you add 3 inches to the range, and that's to everything. So it basically turns a bolt gun into a bolt rifle into a stalker bolt rifle.
Yeah.
What it does do is it just turns an auto bolt into 2 bolt rifles because of the range. So actually, all these ammos will work on that. So that auto hit one might become really awesome.
Oh yeah. I think it probably would.
Yeah,
I think it would. As I said, I think the one that's the one that has the standard -1 AP in its profile is the one that you want, not the one with the
vengeance
extra.
rounds.
No. So the bolter, the actual, because you've got.
Oh yeah.
There's three. There's three different bolt rifles, right? Yeah. So the bolt rifle is -1, right? So
-1 basically.
It's strength 4, rapid fire -1, right? 30 inches.
Yeah, and it goes up to -2. Goes up to -2 in it's round 2 anyway. Yep. So you're right.
Yeah. So, and then with their rounds, so their rounds are a lot minus. Their what one of their rounds gives them -1, right?
It increases the weapon by 2 up to a maximum of -3. So.
Okay. So that doesn't make any difference. No, that doesn't make any difference.
But what it does do is it makes the other ones. So, so the Kraken bolts, for example, gives you extra range and ups it, but again only to -2. I'm just reading. So a lot of this is actually going to cap you out. So Hellfire rounds, I actually think Hellfire rounds would benefit from that because they just wound things on 2s.
Yes.
So that would effectively
that's probably it.
So having the -2 built in from the Doctrine is going to be golden. And since from memory, Hellfires, I'm sure they're single shots. I'm not entirely sure. Good God, why can't I find anything? But anyway, so you could auto hit with them, which would be pretty cool if you had them shooting out of the auto bolt rifle, I guess, or you could rapid fire them extra if that is the case. Okay, so even just giving them the basic stuff is going to help, and I don't think, So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think does it make them better? Yes, it does. It definitely makes the army better than it was previously. It doesn't make them any worse, so that's got to be good.
100%. 100%.
It currently gives them a few tricks that the other Marines don't have. I should expect that to be FAQ'd, but at the moment, not that it makes a damn bit of difference because no one can play. Well, actually, that's a lie. There are people in the world that may well listen to this that have been freed up and are able to play in tournaments and play their buddies. So maybe for the time being, it helps those guys out. For a lot of people where they are still in isolation, this may well be a moot point because it may be FAQ'd or changed before they get a chance to use them. But at the moment, you've got a few extra toys from a kind of a loophole point of view than the normal Marines. Your standard stuff, you're probably less worried about the changes anyway to a degree because you're a bit more of a flexible kind of okay in most of the kind of phases because they're a bit more of a kind of jack of all trades type army, so it probably doesn't hurt them that much. So that if you're a Death Watch player, you're probably just hacked off, aren't you? Because you've got no flavour. I think more than anything, it's so yes, they haven't suddenly got a huge power increase, but more than anything, it's the fact that they've got no extra flavour. They've got no real kind of thing that suddenly stands them out or makes them special, really.
Well, no,
and that I think is the thing that's gonna. They had some, yeah.
They already had that. They were already special because of the ammunition, right? So that was already something they got nothing new. No one else had.
They got nothing new.
I see the both sides of that. So I can see that I thought there would be some new special powers or some psychic powers or something to make the Death Watch Psychers unique, right? Because I think that Death Watch Psychers would be like that. They'd have adapted their powers to there's orcs. I know something that really fucking hurts those guys from fighting them last time, right? So I did, the fluff just works even in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, Eldar, Trixie Eldar. This, let me get my book out. What are we fighting today, boys? We're going after some Eldar. Let me dust off the old Eldar book. Right, yes, I know. I've got just the power for them. It's like almost like like the old wizard getting out his book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember this one. And that would have been really quite cool.
Yeah, I just think they should have been. I just think they should have got the Grey Knights treatment. Personally, I think they should have not got doctrines. I think they should have got like different Xenos tides. That's how
there was a lot of speculation about that, wasn't there? There seemed to be a lot of speculation about that
idea. Yeah, that would have been fun and that would have been flavourful, and I like that because I think that's the way they should have gone with them rather than just put them in the same as Marines. I quite like that. I think that would have made them different. But and I think that's probably what they deserved in my mind. As I said, I think the same as you. I'm a huge big fanboy, and I don't really generally. I just love anything that the company puts out. But I feel a little bit for the Death Watch players because it feels like they did say with the Psychic Awakening, every army is going to get new toys basically. And let's be honest, they haven't really. They more or less could have just gone, here's an FAQ. You suddenly get everything Marines got apart from all the stuff that you want.
Apart from all the good shit. Well, hold the phone. Do you get Hammer of Wrath? So I'm not going to lie, that little dude with the jump pack might be able to do a mortal wound on a 5, so it's not all bad. Right? You've got to look You've got to try and find the silver lining on the cloud, my friend.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. So I think that's a bit of a shame, because I think those guys definitely deserved something. There's not a huge amount of Deathwatch players completely burning down the meta, but maybe there would have been. I don't know.
But there's some stuff that helps. So they get transhuman physiology. That's never a bad thing, right? Because most of their guys tend to be storm shielded up, because storm shields aren't that expensive. Storm shields and storm bolters is a standard kind of loadout. So suddenly being able to wound those guys on 4+ with a 3-up invul, it makes them tanky, right? It does.
Yes,
it's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, you're right. If you're looking for some new flavoursome addition to your Deathwatch, you're going to be disappointed. Is probably the word. Is there some stuff in here that's going to be able to make your army better? Yeah, 100%. Right, and you're going to probably sit there and work it out better than what we are. Neither of us are Deathwatch players, and we're on the kind of like you're doing our usual on the hoof that we tend to try and do to try and work out some synergies, and invariably you get it wrong.
I get it wrong. How fucking dare
I'm just calling it as it is, mate. You know, I'm the guy that's trying to be, you know, a bit more.
I think you get so much wrong last time. You got so much wrong last time. So don't you?
Was that the orc one?
I had to correct it. I had to catch it before you fucked it up.
I ain't an orc player. I'm not an orc player. I don't fucking know. I just had my ass handed to me by orcs. I only remember the beating.
No, I think it was it was the ITC one. It was the ITC one where you thought that things hadn't changed, and actually every single one that you went, oh, this hasn't changed, and it had changed massively.
Well, that's just because I hadn't read them, right? Yeah, so that's fine.
Still mistakes.
Well, I had read them. Just not that long. You know, I just read them a long time ago. And we hadn't played many games to entrench that in. That's the whole point of rules, right? You've got to play it to entrench it. So I think that's
kind of it, isn't it?
Let's be fair. Let's try and find something in here that helps them. So, or just trying to find something that is a little bit unique. It's not unique, but can be used by their unique rules. So I'm trying to find it. So just reading through. So it's because the weird thing is somebody's might not be very good on normal Marines. That suddenly they might be good, and the one I thought would be good was steady advance, but that's for Bolt of Discipline. Doesn't really help. I mean, what might help them? If you turn up and then you trigger steady advance, but it's only if you to the end of the phase. So if you wanted to host, so if you were in turn 2 and you had, because no other army can have 10 Stormbolters, right? That I'm aware of. Grey Knights, but no one else, right? Yeah. So you drop them on the floor, and then you make them all be able to shoot 4 shots each from range. Makes them cheap Terminators, really. Because you probably only want one Terminator. So there's that little bit which helps them, because no one else can really bring that level of small arms fire. And on turn 2, they're only going to be -1, admittedly, but doesn't really help, I suppose. But I guess that would work more with the Deathwatch, maybe the Primaris side, because again, you can deep strike those guys, right? So you've got a load of the bolt shots, so suddenly you're pouring in 20 shots. I can sort of see that would work. But I guess it's difficult, isn't it? Gene Rot is that the that's the melee where you do the unmodified hit or automatically hits and wounds. They're not really a melee army though, from memory. They do have some melee stuff, but from memory, they were more of a.
From any, they're not a White Scars, but
they can take a smash captain the same as everyone else, though, can't they? So everyone else can build a smash captain. These guys can too.
Marines aren't bad in combat. It's as simple as that. Marines are all right in combat, but they're probably not particularly dedicated to it, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess. And that's pretty much it. Hero of the chapter. You can have another warlord trait. I don't know if that's good for these guys. Did they have good warlord traits the first time round? Because everyone else's warlord traits tend to be pretty meh, don't they? And you get one okay one.
Yeah, I don't really think so. Yeah, I'm not convinced. I think there's some stuff in there. I think what would be really interesting, guys, we might be missing something huge. So, um, please do, if you're still listening at this point, let us know in the comments on Facebook or wherever you kind of consume this. We're putting them up on YouTube now as well. Let us know what we're missing and what's going to be really good for Deathwatch now with these changes. What are you
It's
expecting to
hard.
see?
It's hard to miss when there's only 6 pages of it, though, isn't it? That's my
Yeah,
issue.
but
It's like
there will be
it's
people that spot stuff. There'll be people that spot stuff, and there might be stuff there.
always,
So we're
always,
really
always.
interested. It'd be really interesting to hear your thoughts on what you think. But yeah, I mean, so what's coming next before we finish the show? Because I think that's it on Deathwatch. I think we're just starting to really kind of trudge
I
now.
can't.
So
I can't find
what's
much else to
next?
talk about on them. Well,
What's
I
next
think.
then? So what have we got? We got the spider next. Is
Well,
that right? Or we've got
well, I
engine
wasn't the talk
wars.
of Harlequins. Aren't Harlequins in a
Yes.
little update? But
So
if it's
are they
anything like
next?
this, yeah. But I'm really confused because what if this? Fuck me, trying not to be a big salty prick, which is what I normally am. But if this is the kind of treatment the Deathwatch got, what on earth was? Because there hasn't been any new stuff come out, has there?
No.
What has Eldar got? No, Eldar have had an
Well,
update, didn't they?
Eldar got one of the first psychic awakenings. They got all the design your own chapter type things, same as the Dark Eldar got the same. Dark Elf was really
That's
bad. Dark Eldars were horrendous. The Eldar ones were quite good. They found a bit of extra
so.
flavor there, and some people are using them. So so maybe they'll get that. And I'm not sure. I think I heard, and again, correct us if we're wrong, but I think the Harlequins were meant to have the same treatment as Deathwatch, which was to get a future White Dwarf. I don't think the Harlequins feature in the Psychic Awakening, but I may be wrong. If they go in the Psychic Awakening, we know they'll get full treatment. If they go in the White Dwarf, it might be tiny little touch up, which is what the Deathwatch have got.
I'm
So
fairly
I'm not
sure
sure.
it was white because they don't warrant that much of an update, I don't think. But it's not much to get excited about. So the next book is it Spider? It's Spider, isn't it? So War of the
It's
Spider is
Spider.
next.
So we're gonna get what, Necrons and demons, is that right?
Necrons. So War of the Spider is obviously
Oh,
the man
Mechanicus,
himself,
isn't it? Mechanicus.
Fabius.
Yes, it's
No, no. War is it's Death Guard chasing
it's
down
Death Guard, is it? Death
chasing
Guard and
down
Necrons.
Fabius, and one assumes demons. So I assume Nurgle are going to get some love,
Oh
because
yeah, because it's
obviously.
Prior, isn't it? Prior's the next one, and Prior's the one with
Oh God,
uh
yeah. Which order are we going
Spider
in next? So
Boy.
it's
And
Pariah.
yeah,
So wait,
I
so we've
don't
got
know. I'm not sure. So we've got
so
Engine
there's three to
Wars with the
come.
ones we've got
We've got
left. Yeah, Engine Wars, Spider, and Pariah. They're the three left, right?
So shall we search the internet to find out if anyone knows the order? Because I knew Tau were next, before they released it, so they must have said it somewhere. What's it called? Psychic Awakening, right? So let's go to Google so you guys don't have to. Right?
I think we've
This
got
is
Mechanicus
cutting
next.
it.
So I think we've
You
got
think it's Engine War?
I think it's Engine Wars next.
Okay, so Engine War is indeed next. So the actual path is Engine War, which is Mechanicus,
Chaos
both sets
Knights,
of knights.
demons. Demons?
There was talk of demons, so let's have a little look.
Demons. I think it's demons.
So, Engine War was originally planned for April 20, but has been put back. So add mech demons and both flavors of knights is what the internet is telling me. So, so demons are going to get the full treatment, which is nice because they need it.
Yeah, make their big demons really good. Would be great.
AdMech makes sense because those absolutely fucking ugly brick flyers have just been started to be leaked. And I'm sorry if you think they look good, but how on earth?
Flappy ones.
Because I'm pretty sure, having watched the Red Bull make your own plane thing in Germany, where they jump themselves off a pier and try and fly, the guy that turns up in the flappy one goes straight in the water every time.
Apparently they don't flap. Apparently they don't flap, but they do look
Why
like
do
they're
they
flappy
look like
ones.
they flap?
I don't know.
So what's the
I
point
don't
of them
know.
then? It's
I
just a
don't know.
brick. It's a
But
glider.
I do like the other two new models. I like the little kind of like bat guys with the kind of talons, and I like the dog riders. I like both those. I don't like
They're
the
not
flyer.
dogs. They're
They
quite
are
clearly
dogs.
cyber horses.
They're
They're
dogs.
horses. They're
They're
horses.
dogs. Look at a picture of them. They're dogs. They're even called
Horses.
like hounds or something. They're dogs. They're doggos.
No, not having it. No,
I'm telling you, yeah. Deal with it.
But anyway, it's not as bad as the cyber brick.
No,
The
that's
cyber
crap.
brick with flappy wings just looks. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's
Trying
not
to
good
find
stuff.
something nice to say about it's terrible. But anyway, I'm sure it will be very good.
Yes.
Or something.
Anyway,
But you are
moving
right.
on.
I do like. Are you right? I do like the little the cavalry.
Yes.
What I love about cavalry is in any modern war, cavalry is pointless. But that doesn't mean I don't love it, because I just think it looks awesome.
It does. It does.
And these guys do look cool. I did some cool conversions from these guys as well, I think, because the bits, the things they're riding look epic.
They do. They do.
Like a real kind of like. Yeah, I don't know what I'm just trying to sort of think. So yeah, so they'd be cool. I don't think anyone else gets any new rules though. I mean, demons might get a special character, maybe. I don't know.
Definitely, they've got lots of things that have come out recently, like the mirror and the new kind of like Slaanesh stuff, Slaanesh characters. I don't think they necessarily need more models. What they need is they just need an update to some of their rules to make them a bit more viable as a standalone army. I'd like to see them get some love. I really like demons. I've got a real soft spot for them, and I'd like them to be good again. And what would be really good is if it's not just Siege. Like generally, they tend to always come out of things in the best place, and I'd like I mean, they're my favourites. So like Siege are probably my favourite, and then Khorne second. But I'd actually like some of the other. I'd like it to be Slaanesh or Khorne would be the ones. Particularly Khorne would be good if they got the biggest advantage. I'd like make Bloodthirsters really scary. That'd be amazing.
I always want that. I always want that. So that's next, and then it's War of the Spider. So the War of the Spider, I believe.
Death Guard.
So
yeah, Death Guard, Fabius.
Assassins, and which is cool, and so Talons of the Emperor, which that's Custodians and Sisters of Silence, right? Yeah. So those guys. So that's those guys, and a new sub faction called, I believe. I'm only reading like rumor mill here now, but the sub faction called Agents of Bile. Because he is kind of all for himself, and let's be honest, he doesn't really answer to anyone. Bile, does he? His people pay him.
He's fallen out with Daddy big time.
He's fallen out with everyone basically, but people. He generally turns up, turns your force into a big load of juiced up maniacs who then explode at some point later. But those juiced up maniacs might win it for you. So they basically let him do what he wants. He effectively will kill all your army anyway, but you pay him for the privilege, and then off he goes on his next adventure. And that seems to be Fabius Bile. But the fluff has been leading him towards Primaris Chaos.
It's not happening.
Or Chaos Primaris.
Not happening.
Do you reckon?
Not happening.
No, I'd like it to.
It's not happening.
Why isn't it happening?
Because it's not.
All right, it's nice of you.
I think they've said to be like I think they've said that it's not.
It's just going to be an advancement of the story to that happening in the future.
Yeah,
because he's working towards it, right?
So. He is, but you've got to remember that.
Fluff.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the Chaos Space Marines have got almost the same size as Primaris now. I don't think.
Yeah, true.
Ultimately, we all know that the models kind of come first and stuff like that. So anyway,
but you could make it. Yeah. So what you could do is you could make it so that same as how it was. He experiments on his guys, and you pick from one of the upgrades. It might be that you get an extra wound, but you have to lose some of them to get it. That I kind of like all that sort of stuff.
That's
I don't
cool.
mind.
That's
cool.
If
they do something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Death Guard get a lot of love in that though. Apparently, they get a load of new plague companies, much like the So they get the same love that Thousand Suns got, which was pretty cool. So you know how it works. There's going to be 2 or 3 gash ones.
Yep.
2 or 3 all right ones, and one that stands out. And then Pariah, which is we're miles away from now, I guess, aren't we? So, and then that's it, really. I think. Does that end? I don't know if there's any more been talked about.
Then we have 9th edition, right?
Ooh, that's racy.
It is racy. But I think it's a good bombshell to finish on because we're coming up to the hour mark. So thanks so much for listening to this podcast. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We will be back hopefully next week with something to talk about. If you've got ideas of what you'd like us to kind of discuss, we'll pretty much throw our hat in the ring on most things because we're looking for subjects to cover.
Always.
So let us know what you think. If there's something you'd like us to cover, we'll be more than happy to kind of throw that in the mix. But thanks so much for listening, guys. If you haven't already, please do like, comment, and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.